Hello, I'm Alex. Welcome to part 5 of this How to Play Dropzone Commander video series. In the last video we went over how movement, aircraft and transports work, but now we're here for the thing you've probably all been waiting for, which is how to shoot stuff. As we touched on in a previous video, shooting usually involves 2 steps. Step 1 is rolling to hit by rolling dice equal to the shots of the weapon, looking to meet or beat your accuracy stat. Step 2 is rolling to damage, rolling a dice, adding the energy of the weapon that you hit with, and trying to meet or beat the target's armor. If you do 1 point of damage. As a quick reminder, the accuracy stat of the weapon can be seen on the stat card of the unit. A natural 1 always fails, and a natural 6 always succeeds on the hit roll. So our example saber here has 1 shot with its railgun, hitting on a 2+. To damage, we roll 1d6, add the energy of the weapon, so to hurt another saber, it would need a 5+ on the damage roll due to its energy 10 and armor 15. Active countermeasures force the shooting weapon to use its countered range instead of its full range. Evasion gives the shooting weapon a penalty to its accuracy equal to the evasion modifier, and passive countermeasures give the receiving unit an after-damage saving throw for each point of damage suffered. One key difference to a lot of other wargames is that in this there is no damage overspill, and you target individual models, not squads. So if my squad of 3 sabers here wants to shoot at 3 enemy tanks, I would have to pick for 1 saber to target one of them, 1 to target the second one, and 1 to target the third one. All those shots are then resolved simultaneously. Units use their base accuracy if they have a clear shot, but there are often modifiers to that accuracy stat. Firstly, if the target's model is at least 50% obscured from the shooting model's perspective, it is what's called hull down. This gives a +2 accuracy penalty. As we said, evasion countermeasures will give further accuracy penalties on top. Finally, if a unit disembarks this turn, it suffers a +2 accuracy penalty to all of its weapons. This means that while our saber has 1+ accuracy with its railgun, that goes to a 3+ accuracy if it has disembarked this turn, a 5+ if the target is also hull down, and a 6+ if the target also has evasion. There are other unique accuracy modifiers on the stat cards of some units. Some project ECM fields, some can pop smoke, and so on. Evasion, hull down, and disembarking are the most common sources of accuracy penalties, however. As we've already covered, damage is simple. If you land a hit, you then roll a dice, you add the energy of the weapon. If you meet or beat the target's armor, you do 1 point of damage. As we said before, unlike with to-hit rolls, damage rolls do not automatically succeed on a 6, meaning if your weapon isn't powerful enough, you simply cannot damage the target you're trying to shoot. If you beat the target's armor by 2 or more on the damage roll, you will do a critical hit. A critical hit simply does double damage. So, for example, if my saber were to fire its energy 10 railgun at an armor 12 target, it would need a 2+ to do any damage, but on a 4+, it would do 2 damage. Some weapons will have the Devastator special rule. This will have a number after it and a unit type in brackets. For example, Devastator 3 brackets vehicle. The unit type in the brackets is what the Devastator applies to, and the number is a multiplier on the damage done with the weapon when shooting at that target type. To show an example, let's look at the apex predator in the UCM tank lineup, the broadsword super heavy tank. As we can see, its Mythslayer railgun has Devastator 3 versus vehicles, and Devastator 2 versus behemoths. This means that if a broadsword were to shoot at and hit a saber tank, we'd compare its energy 13 to the saber's armor of 15. On a 2+ on the damage roll, it would equal the armor 15 and do 1 damage, but that would then become 3 damage due to its Devastator 3. If it got a 4+ for a total of 17, it would beat the target's armor by 2, and so do a crit for a total of 6 damage. This is a bit unnecessary as sabers only have 1 damage point, but there is no kill like overkill. Generally, aircraft cannot be targeted by most weapons. In fact, the only weapons you are allowed to fire at an aircraft are weapons with the AA special rule. Weapons with the AA special rule can fire at aircraft normally with the normal modifiers such as hull down or the target having evasion. However, no weapon can be fired at an aircraft on the turn that the unit with the weapon disembarked. AA weapons will have the AA special rule, and they will have a number after it. For example, our Rapier AA tank's Vindicator has AA2. When this weapon is fired at a target with evasion, we ignore points of evasion equal to that number. For example, let's say our Rapiers want to shoot at this Tempest Interceptor. They're able to do so because their AA Vindicators have the AA special rule and they did not disembark this turn. The Tempest has active countermeasures, but the Rapiers are within their countered range of 18 inches and so they can target it. The Tempest has evasion 3, so normally the Rapier's 3+ accuracy would go to a 6+. However, as they have AA2, they ignore 2 points of that evasion, so they hit on a 4+. It can be hard to get the jump on fast-moving aircraft with slow-moving anti-air. However, there is the option to reaction fire. This is a way to create no-fly zones on the board, or to punish aircraft that fly into them. Any unit with an AA weapon that has not disembarked or already shot that AA weapon this turn can choose to reaction fire at an aircraft that moves within its range and line of sight. They can do this even if they've already activated this round, so long as they didn't fire that anti-air weapon and didn't exceed its move and fire value when they moved, if the weapon has one. To reaction fire, after the opposing player has moved an aircraft that at any point moved within the range and line of sight of an eligible AA weapon, the controlling player can choose to shoot that weapon at the aircraft. This is done one weapon at a time, so you don't have to commit the whole squad to shooting at the thing that just moved within range. You can resolve one weapon, see how it goes, resolve the next weapon if it didn't work, and so on. The reacting player picks a point along the aircraft's flight path, then rolls to hit. Reaction fire suffers an innate +2 accuracy penalty, and other modifiers are still applied. For example, I have my squad of 3 Rapiers here. I haven't fired their Vindicator AA guns this round, and my opponent's Tempest has just moved across their line of sight. I choose to reaction fire with my AA guns, starting with the leftmost Rapier. My accuracy is 3+, but it goes to a 5+ due to reaction firing. I ignore 2 points of the Tempest's 3 evasion due to my AA2, but this still puts me on a net 6+ to hit. My first Rapier misses the Tempest completely, so I choose to also reaction fire with the second one. This Rapier hits but does no damage, so I choose to reaction fire with my final Rapier, and the lucky 6 shoots the Tempest down. I picked a point along the Tempest's flight path to shoot at it, and I picked a point where it's in the open, so it crash lands at that position, something we'll cover in just a moment. So, as you can probably imagine, being in a transport that's just been destroyed is extremely bad for your health. When a transport is destroyed, you roll a single D3. On a 1 or a 2, every unit, again that's model, so every model in that transport suffers that many energy 10 hits. So 1 energy 10 on a 1, or 2 energy 10 hits on a 2. On a 3+, nothing happens, the occupants are fine. After resolving any damage rolls, any surviving occupants of the transport are set up in coherency with each other within 2 inches of where the transport was, and you remove the transport. But what about aircraft? As you can also probably imagine, being directly underneath an aircraft that is crashing is also bad for your health. This works in a similar way. You roll a D3, on a 1 or a 2, everything within that many inches takes that many energy 10 hits. Remember, you do measure from the center of the model when checking this range, not from the edge of it. On a 3+, the pilot manages to bring the aircraft down safely and nothing happens. So let's go through an example. I have here a Condor dropship carrying 2 Bear APCs, each of which is carrying a squad of 2 bases of Legionnaires. The unlucky Condor has just been shot down, and the models inside are about to have a terrible day. The Sabres directly underneath it are also in danger. So first of all, we roll for the crash land, and we roll a 2 on the D3. Every unit within 2 inches of the center of the Condor takes 2 energy 10 hits. This hits 2 of my armor 15 Sabres, and an unfortunate 6 on the damage roll beats the armor on one of them, destroying it. Once we've resolved the crash, we now roll a separate D3 for the Bear APCs inside the Condor, because they're inside a transport that's just been destroyed. We roll a 1, so both armor 13 Bears take 1 energy 10 hit, rolled separately. A 4 on one bear is enough to damage but not destroy it, as bears have 2 damage points, but a 5 on the other bear crits against its armor 13, doing 2 damage and destroying it. So we now set up both bears within 2 inches of the crashing condor, and now finally we roll a d3 for the destroyed bear, and thankfully we roll a 3. This does no damage, and the 2 bases of Legionnaires scramble out of the wreckage, setting up within 2 inches of where the bear was placed. So that's the basics of shooting. So of course there are many weapon special rules and unit special rules that all interact in different ways, far too many to cover in this short video. There's also infantry close quarters combat, which we will cover in the next video, so stay tuned.